Stop carrying a weight that was never yours to hold. Ride that again in your heart. You have spent too many nights worrying about tomorrow while forgetting who holds tomorrow. You have allowed fear to speak louder than faith. You have let anxiety convince you that you are alone. But hear this. If God chose you, then your problems cannot cancel your purpose. The storm may be loud, the pressure may be heavy, the waiting may be painful, but none of it has the final word. Stop stressing, stop panicking, stop trying to control what only God can control. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is learning to let go. Life has a way of testing every part of you. It tests your patience. It tests your courage. It tests your faith. There will be moments when every door seems closed, moments when people walk away, moments when your prayers feel unanswered. That is where most people quit. But those who understand purpose know something different. Delay is not denial. The silence does not mean God has forgotten you. The battle is preparing you for a blessing that is bigger than your imagination. Every setback is shaping your character. Every disappointment is building your endurance. Every difficult season is teaching you to depend on something greater than yourself. You were never created to live controlled by fear. You were created to walk by faith. Worry has never changed yesterday, not once. It has never erased a mistake. It has never healed a broken heart. It has never reopened a closed door. It has never rewritten a painful chapter of your life. Yesterday is already written. No amount of fear can edit it. And worry has never created tomorrow. It has never built an opportunity. It has never opened a new path. It has never planted hope where fear once lived. It only steals today. It steals your peace. It steals your energy. It steals your confidence. It steals your focus. Little by little, day after day, until you wake up one morning and realize you've been surviving instead of living. Think about it. How many hours have you spent imagining disasters that never happened? How many nights have you stared at the ceiling, replaying every problem in your mind? How many mornings have you carried yesterday's fears into a brand new day? How many opportunities have you missed because you convinced yourself you weren't ready? How many blessings passed by because your eyes were fixed on your problems instead of God's promises? Enough allowing fear to sit on the throne of your mind. Enough giving anxiety permission to speak louder than you're purposed. Enough believing that worry somehow prepares you for tomorrow. It doesn't. It only prepares you to miss today. Fear is a liar. It whispers that you're not enough. It whispers that you'll fail. It whispers that nothing will ever change. It whispers that your best days are behind you. But fear has never told the whole story. Fear only shows you the mountain. Faith shows you the one who created the mountain. Fear shows you the storm. Faith reminds you who controls the wind. Fear magnifies the obstacle. Faith magnifies the creator. There is a difference, a powerful difference. Fear says, what if everything goes wrong? Faith says, what if God is already working behind the scenes? Fear says, you're alone. Faith says, you have never walked alone. Fear says, give up. Faith says, take one more step. That's all. Just one more step. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You only need enough courage to step onto the first one. Too many people refuse to move because they cannot see the finish line, but life has never worked that way. Faith has never required perfect vision. Faith requires trust. Trust when the road is clear. Trust when the road disappears. Trust when people believe in you. Trust when they don't. Trust when the answers come quickly. Trust when heaven seems silent, because silence is not absence. Just because you cannot hear God does not mean He has stopped working. A seed grows underground before anyone sees the harvest. The sunrise begins before your eyes notice the light. Some of God's greatest work happens where human eyes cannot see. So stop measuring His presence by your feelings. Feelings change, truth does not. There will be days when your emotions tell you to quit. Your circumstances will tell you to surrender. People around you will tell you your dream is impossible. But remember this, your emotions are temporary. God's promises are eternal. The opinions of people cannot cancel the purpose of God. If He opened the door, no one can permanently shut it. If He planted the dream, no obstacle can destroy it unless you stop believing. That is why faith matters. Faith keeps moving when fear freezes. Faith keeps praying when nothing changes. Faith keeps smiling through tears. Faith keeps serving while waiting. Faith keeps believing when logic says it makes no sense. Real faith is not pretending life is easy. Real faith is standing in the middle of difficulty and saying, I still trust God. That kind of faith changes people. It changes families. It changes generations. Because someone watching your life needs to see what trust looks like. Someone is learning from the way you handle pressure. Someone is watching how you respond to disappointment. Someone is discovering hope because you refuse to quit. Your faith is bigger than you think. Every challenge you're facing today has a choice attached to it. You can feed your fear or you can feed your faith. You cannot feed both and expect peace. Whatever you give your attention to becomes stronger. Feed fear and fear grows. Feed doubt, and doubt grows. Feed faith, and courage grows. Feed gratitude, and peace grows. Guard your mind. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every negative thought deserves your belief. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Some thoughts need to be replaced. Replace panic with prayer. Worry with worship. Doubt with determination. Fear with faith. You may not control every situation, but you can choose what controls your heart. Don't confuse waiting with wasting. Waiting is not weakness. Sometimes waiting is preparation. Sometimes waiting is protection. Sometimes God is delaying what you want because He is preparing something greater than you imagined. His timing has a purpose, even when you don't understand it, especially when you don't understand it. There are blessings that only arrive when your character is strong enough to carry them. There are doors that only open after you've learned patience. There are victories that only belong to those who refuse to quit during the waiting season. So breathe, slow down. Stop carrying burdens that were never assigned to you. You were never meant to control every outcome. Your responsibility is obedience. God's responsibility is the outcome. Do your work. Give your best. Stay disciplined. Keep your integrity. Keep your faith. Then leave the results in God's hands, because when you stop trying to control everything, you finally create room for God to do what only He can do. Miracles begin where control ends. Peace begins where surrender begins. Hope begins where worry loses its grip. So trust. Even when you don't understand, walk. Even when you're tired, believe. Even when you cannot yet see the answer, take the next step, then another, then another. Keep moving, keep praying, keep believing, because worry has never carried anyone into their destiny. But faith has carried ordinary people into extraordinary purpose, time and time again. Hard times do not mean you have been abandoned. Let that truth settle into your spirit. Just because life became difficult does not mean God walked away. Just because the road became steep does not mean your destination disappeared. Just because you cannot see the answer today does not mean heaven has stopped listening. Too many people mistake silence for absence. Too many people believe that if God truly loved them, life would always be easy. But growth has never been born from comfort. Strength has never been built in convenience. Character has never been developed without challenge. Sometimes the very struggle you are trying to escape is the classroom where God is teaching you the lessons that will carry you into your purpose. Think about it. Gold is refined by fire. The fire is not there to destroy the gold. The fire removes everything that doesn't belong. Every impurity rises to the surface. Every weakness is exposed. What remains is stronger. What remains is more valuable. The fire reveals what was always there. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not comfort, not ease. Pressure. If the pressure were removed too soon, the diamond would never become what it was created to be. The same is true for your life. The pressure is painful. The waiting is uncomfortable. The uncertainty is exhausting. But don't confuse discomfort with destruction. God is not trying to break you. He is building you. He is shaping your heart. He is strengthening your mind. He is preparing your spirit for responsibilities that your current version is not yet ready to carry. Imagine receiving everything you've prayed for before you were mature enough to handle it. The blessing could become a burden. The opportunity could become your downfall. The success could destroy your character. That is why preparation matters. God is often more concerned with who you are becoming than with how quickly you arrive. Because if your character cannot sustain your calling will eventually collapse. Strong people are built through adversity, not because adversity is enjoyable, but because adversity forces you to discover strength you never knew you had. You don't realize how resilient you are until life gives you no other choice. You don't discover your courage while everything is going your way. You discover it when every reason to quit is standing in front of you. You don't learn faith when every prayer is answered immediately. You learn faith when you continue praying through the silence. That is where real faith is born, not in comfort, but in the middle of uncertainty. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" That question keeps your eyes locked on the problem. Instead, ask yourself, "What is this preparing me for?" That single question changes everything. Suddenly your pain has purpose, your delay has direction, your struggle becomes training instead of punishment. Maybe this season is teaching you patience because your next season will require wisdom. Maybe this disappointment is protecting you from something that would have broken you later. Maybe that closed door was actually an act of mercy. Maybe the relationship that ended made room for something healthier. Maybe the opportunity you lost was never meant to define your future. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually divine redirection. You cannot always understand it while you're living through it, but one day you'll look back and realize that what felt like your greatest setback became the foundation of your greatest breakthrough. Your pain is developing patience. Patience is not simply waiting. Patience is trusting while you wait. Patience is refusing to let frustration control your decisions. Patience is believing that God's timing is wiser than your urgency. That kind of patience changes a person. It teaches humility. It teaches endurance. It teaches gratitude. Your disappointment is strengthening your character. Character is revealed when nobody is watching. Character is revealed when life becomes unfair. Character is revealed when you have every excuse to quit, but choose integrity instead. Anyone can stay positive when everything is perfect, but can you remain faithful when nothing makes sense? Can you keep your integrity when shortcuts seem easier? Can you stay kind after being hurt? Can you forgive after being betrayed? Can you keep believing after another unanswered prayer? That is where character is formed, not through words, through choices, daily choices, quiet choices, difficult choices. Your obstacles are teaching you resilience. Every obstacle asks the same question. Will you stop here? Your answer determines your future. Resilient people are not people who never cry. They are not people who never struggle. They are not people who never feel tired. They are people who refuse to stay down. They fall, they get back up, they hurt. They keep moving, they lose, they keep believing. Because resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It is about refusing to let hardship define you. Every setback is giving you experience. Every failure is giving you wisdom. Every difficult season is preparing you to help someone else one day. Never waste your pain. Your testimony will become someone else's hope. The battle you're fighting today may become the message that saves another person tomorrow. That is how purpose works. God doesn't just bring you through storms for your own benefit. He prepares you to become a light for people still trapped in theirs. So don't run from the process. Don't spend your life looking for the easiest path. Easy roads rarely build strong people. The strongest trees grow through violent storms. The deepest roots are developed in difficult seasons. The greatest victories are earned after the hardest battles. Growth often feels uncomfortable because you're leaving behind the person you used to be. Old habits must die. Old fears must be released. Old doubts must be replaced with faith. Transformation is rarely painless, but it is always worthwhile. Don't quit simply because the process feels slow. Don't mistake slow progress for no progress. Every day you refuse to give up, you are becoming stronger. Every prayer you pray is shaping your spirit. Every lesson you learn is preparing you for the next level of your journey. One day, the struggle that almost broke you will become the story that inspires someone else to keep going. One day, you'll thank God for the doors He closed. One day, you'll understand the delays. One day, you'll recognize that every painful season had a purpose. Until that day comes, keep trusting, keep growing, keep believing. Don't allow temporary pain to convince you that your future has been canceled, because the person you are becoming is far greater than the comfort you are leaving behind. God is not finished with you. The struggle is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for everything He has already planned for your life. Before insecurity ever whispered your name, before fear convinced you that you were too small, before the world tried to tell you who you should be, God already knew exactly who you were. He knew your purpose before your first breath. He saw your future before you took your first step. He understood your potential before you ever questioned it. You may be surprised by your struggles. God is not. You may feel overwhelmed by the obstacles in front of you. God already knew they would come. Nothing in your life has caught Him by surprise. Every battle, every delay, every disappointment, every tear He knew. And still, He chose you. Think about that. Not after you became successful. Not after you became confident. Not after you had everything figured out. He chose you before any of those things existed. He chose you when you were still becoming. He chose you knowing every weakness you would carry. He chose you knowing every mistake you would make. He chose you knowing every time you would doubt yourself. Yet His decision never changed because your purpose was never based on your perfection. It was based on His plan. Before failure tried to define your story, God already saw your victory. Failure is not your identity. Failure is an event, not a destination, not a name, not your future. Too many people allow one difficult chapter to become the title of their entire life. Don't do that. One mistake does not erase your purpose. One rejection does not cancel your calling. One disappointment does not rewrite God's promises. Every great journey includes moments of failure. Every strong person has scars. Every meaningful purpose is tested. Failure is not proof that you should stop. Sometimes it is proof that you are growing. Sometimes the lesson hidden inside the failure is more valuable than the success you were chasing. God sees the finished picture while you are still staring at one unfinished piece. Trust His perspective more than your own. Before doubt entered your mind, He already called you capable. The voice of doubt is loud. It tells you that you're too late, too broken, too ordinary, too inexperienced, too weak. It tells you that someone else is more talented, someone else is more qualified. Someone else deserves the opportunity more than you. But doubt speaks from fear. God speaks from truth. God does not call you according to your limitations. He calls you according to his purpose. He doesn't ask if you feel ready. He asks if you're willing to trust him. Remember this: your feelings are temporary. Your calling is eternal. There will be mornings when you don't feel strong. Stand anyway. There will be nights when you don't feel hopeful. Pray anyway. There will be seasons when confidence seems impossible. Move anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward while fear is still trying to hold you back. People may overlook you. It happens. They may fail to recognize your value. They may ignore your effort. They may never applaud your progress. Don't let that discourage you. The people who overlook you do not have the authority to define you. Their blindness cannot erase your purpose. Some people only recognize greatness after it becomes obvious. Some people only celebrate success after the battle has already been won. Don't spend your life chasing approval from people who cannot see what God placed inside you. Keep working, keep growing, keep becoming. Your purpose does not need permission from public opinion. People may misunderstand you. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will understand your faith. Not everyone will understand why you refuse to quit. That's okay. You are not called to be understood by everyone. You are called to remain faithful. Sometimes the people closest to you will question your dream. Sometimes strangers will believe in you before friends do. Sometimes your biggest supporters won't appear until after you've succeeded. Don't allow misunderstanding to become an excuse for surrender. Walk your path anyway. Stay faithful anyway. People may underestimate you. Let them think you're not capable. Let them doubt your potential. Let them underestimate your strength, because underestimation has never stopped God's plan. History is filled with ordinary people who accomplished extraordinary things because they trusted God more than public opinion. The world often measures people by appearance. God measures the heart. The world celebrates popularity. God develops character. The world looks for perfection. God works through willing people. Never confuse being unnoticed with being unimportant. Some of God's greatest work happens in hidden places. Roots grow underground before trees reach the sky. Preparation happens in private before purpose is revealed in public. Your hidden season is not wasted. It is necessary, because when the opportunity finally comes, your character will be ready to carry the blessing. But remember this: people do not determine your destiny. They can reject you, but they cannot cancel what God has already ordained. They can ignore you, but they cannot erase your purpose. They can criticize you, but they cannot rewrite your future. Your life is too valuable to be controlled by someone else's opinion. Your value was never decided by applause. It was never measured by followers. It was never determined by titles, positions, wealth, or popularity. Your value was established long before the world ever noticed you. It was established by divine purpose. You are valuable because God created you intentionally. You are significant because your life carries meaning. You are capable because He placed gifts inside you before you ever discovered them. Those gifts may still be developing. Your purpose may still be unfolding, but it already exists. Don't spend another day questioning whether your life matters. It does. Stand tall, not because life is easy. Life will challenge you. Life will test you. Life will stretch you. Stand tall because your identity is stronger than your circumstances. Stand tall because your purpose is greater than your problems. Stand tall because every storm eventually passes. Stand tall because your faith is stronger than your fear. Lift your head, not in pride, but in confidence. The quiet confidence that comes from knowing your life is in God's hands. Walk with humility, walk with integrity, walk with discipline, walk with courage. Walk like someone who refuses to be defined by fear. Walk like someone who believes that every step has meaning. Walk like someone who knows that delays are not defeats. Walk like someone who understands that God finishes what He begins. And above all, walk like someone who knows they were chosen, not because you earned it, not because you deserved it, but because God's purpose was already written over your life before fear ever learned your name, because you were chosen before the battle, chosen before the setback, chosen before the rejection, chosen before the waiting, chosen before the tears, chosen before the breakthrough. And because God chose you first, no fear, no failure, no opinion, and no obstacle has the power to take away what He has already placed within you. Some battles were never assigned to you. Ride that again, not with your eyes, but with your heart. Some battles were never yours to fight, yet every day you carry burdens that were never placed on your shoulders. You wake up trying to solve every problem. You stay awake trying to predict every outcome. You replay every conversation. You analyze every mistake. You search for answers that have not yet been revealed. And little by little, you exhaust yourself, not because life is impossible, but because you're trying to carry what only God was meant to carry. Stop believing that everything depends on you. Stop believing that if you worry enough, somehow the situation will change. Stop believing that your anxiety is a form of preparation. It isn't. Worry does not make you stronger, it only makes you tired. God never asked you to carry tomorrow before it arrives. He asked you to trust Him today, one day at a time, one step at a time, one prayer at a time. You keep trying to force answers. You want immediate clarity. You want every question answered. You want to know exactly how everything will unfold. But faith has never required complete understanding. Faith requires trust when understanding has not yet arrived. There will be moments when you simply do not know. You won't know why the door closed. You won't know why the prayer hasn't been answered yet. You won't know why the waiting continues. And that's okay, because your peace should never depend on having every answer. Your peace should depend on knowing the one who already does. Stop trying to force people. You cannot make someone value you. You cannot make someone stay. You cannot force respect. You cannot force loyalty. You cannot force love. You cannot force someone to see the goodness you've carried all along. The harder you chase people who have already decided to walk away, the more you lose yourself. Some people are part of a season, not your destiny. Some relationships teach lessons instead of lasting forever. Accept that release is what is already trying to leave, because what God has prepared for you will never require you to beg for your place. You keep trying to force opportunities. You believe that if you push harder, if you sacrifice more, if you never stop striving, then somehow every door will open. But not every closed door is your enemy. Sometimes a closed door is God's protection. Sometimes the opportunity you desperately wanted would have taken you away from your purpose. Sometimes rejection is not punishment, it is direction. You see a closed door, God sees a dangerous path. You see disappointment, God sees deliverance. Trust His perspective more than your emotions. Then there is timing. How often have you become frustrated because life isn't moving according to your schedule? You compare your journey with everyone else's. You wonder why someone else reached the destination before you. You question whether you're falling behind. Listen carefully. Comparison is one of the quickest ways to steal your peace. Your assignment is different. Your preparation is different. Your purpose is different. So your timing will be different. A fruit picked too early is not ready. A seed dug up too soon never becomes a tree. The greatest blessings often require the greatest patience. Don't confuse delay with denial. God's timing is not slow, it is precise. He knows the exact moment your blessing will become a benefit instead of a burden. Trust that. Stop forcing timing. What belongs to you will not require you to destroy yourself to keep it. Ride that slowly. If you have to abandon your peace to keep it, it isn't from God. If you have to compromise your integrity to gain it, it isn't worth having. If you have to lose your character to achieve it, the price is too high. Real blessings never require you to become someone you were never created to be. God's gifts bring peace, not constant panic. His direction brings clarity, not endless confusion. Release the pressure. You don't have to carry the weight of the entire future. Today's strength is enough for today's assignment. Tomorrow will receive its own grace. Release the pressure of perfection. You don't have to do everything flawlessly. You simply have to remain faithful. Faithfulness matters more than perfection. Relish the bitterness. Some people hurt you deeply. Some words left scars. Some betrayals changed the way you trusted others. The pain was real. No one is denying that. But bitterness keeps reopening wounds that God is trying to heal. Bitterness doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It punishes you. It steals your joy. It clouds your vision. It drains your strength. Forgiveness does not always mean forgetting. It means refusing to let yesterday continue controlling today. Free yourself not because they deserve it, but because your peace is too valuable to lose. Relish the need to control every detail. Control is often fear wearing a different mask. We try to control everything because we are afraid of uncertainty, but life has never promised certainty. Faith fills the space where certainty ends. You don't need every answer. You don't need every detail. You don't need to know exactly how the miracle will happen. You simply need to trust the one who is writing the story. Do your part. That matters. Faith is never an excuse for laziness. Work with excellence. Give your best effort in everything you do, even when no one is watching, even when no one applauds. Because excellence is a reflection of your character, not your audience. Pray with sincerity, not with perfect words, not with rehearsed speeches. Speak honestly. Speak openly. Bring your fears, bring your questions, bring your tears. God is not intimidated by your honesty. He welcomes it live with integrity. Be the same person in private that you are in public. Keep your word. Choose honesty over shortcuts. Choose humility over pride. Choose faithfulness over convenience. Because character is what remains when success comes and goes. Then, after you've done everything within your power, let God do what only God can do. There comes a moment when effort must become surrender. Not surrender to fear, not surrender to defeat, surrender to God. A surrender that says, I have done my part, now I trust you to do yours. That is where freedom begins. That is where hope grows. That is where impossible situations become opportunities for miracles. Because there are battles that human strength cannot win. There are doors human hands cannot open. There are hearts only God can change. There are paths only God can create. Stop carrying responsibilities that belong to heaven. Stop fighting wars you were never called to fight. Rest in the confidence that God is already working. Even when you cannot see it, He is moving behind the scenes. He is arranging what you cannot arrange. He is protecting you from what you cannot see. He is preparing blessings you cannot yet imagine. So breathe, trust, obey, remain faithful. Keep walking, keep believing, keep praying. Then release what you cannot control into the hands of the one who has never lost a battle. Because peace does not begin when every problem disappears. Peace begins where control ends, faith rises, and you finally allow God to do what only He can do. The person who enters your next chapter cannot think like the person who survived the last one. Let the truth settle into your heart. Every new season requires a new version of you. You cannot carry yesterday's fears into tomorrow's purpose. You cannot expect a different life while holding on to the same limiting beliefs. Growth demands change. Purpose demands transformation. God is calling you forward, but before He changes your circumstances, He often changes your mindset. Because if your thinking never changes, your future never changes. Many people pray for new opportunities while clinging to old fears. They ask God for open doors while refusing to leave the room they have already outgrown. They ask for abundance while continuing to think with a mindset of lack. But the greatest transformation always begins within. Before your life changes, your thinking must change. Before your future changes, your perspective must change. Before your circumstances change, your heart must change. Leave behind the fear. Fear had its season. It may have protected you from some risks. It may have kept you cautious. But if you continue living under fear, it will eventually become the prison that keeps you from your purpose. Fear always exaggerates obstacles. It tells you the mountain is impossible to climb. It tells you that failure is certain. It tells you that you are not enough. But fear has never spoken for God. God speaks through hope, through purpose, through courage, through faith. So stop listening to every fearful thought that enters your mind. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Some thoughts are meant to be rejected. Fear with faith, panic with peace, hesitation with obedience. Leave behind the excuses. Excuses are comfortable. They protect us from responsibility. They give us reasons to stay where we are. I'll start when I have more money. I'll begin when I feel ready. I'll move when everything is perfect. But perfection never arrives. The right moment is rarely obvious. Successful people do not wait for perfect conditions. They move with what they have. They trust God with what they don't. Your future is waiting on the other side of the excuse you've been repeating for years. Stop waiting. Start moving. Leave behind the habit of expecting failure. Some people have experienced so much disappointment that they begin expecting every opportunity to end in heartbreak. They celebrate carefully. They dream cautiously. They hope reluctantly because they are afraid of being hurt again. But expecting failure does not protect your heart. It only limits your vision. Do not allow past disappointments to become permanent expectation. Yesterday is not your prediction, it is your lesson. Your future deserves better than the fears created by your past. Lift your head. The world has enough people walking with their eyes fixed on the ground. Lift your head. Not because every problem has disappeared, but because your hope is greater than your hardship. Lift your head because your story is still being written. Lift your head because your purpose has not expired. Lift your head because every sunrise is proof that God still gives new beginnings. Walk forward with quiet confidence. Not confidence in yourself alone. Confidence in the one who walks beside you. Strengthen your spirit. Your body needs food. Your mind needs wisdom. And your spirit needs daily nourishment. Do not feed your mind with fear every morning and expect peace by evening. Be intentional about what enters your heart. Protect your thoughts. Protect your attention. Protect your peace. Spend time in prayer. Spend time in gratitude. Spend time reflecting on God's goodness instead of constantly replaying your worries. The strongest people are not always the most talented. They are often the ones who consistently strengthen their spirit day after day. Feed your faith every single day. Faith grows through consistency, not occasional inspiration. Every prayer matters. Every act of obedience matters. Every quiet moment with God matters. Every decision to trust instead of panic matters. Faith is like a muscle. Use it, and it grows stronger. Gnaw it, and it becomes weak. Don't wait until life becomes difficult to build your faith. Build it now, so that when storms come, your foundation remains unshaken. Speak hope when everything around you speaks doubt. There will always be voices telling you what cannot be done. There will always be headlines spreading fear. There will always be critics questioning your dream. Do not become another voice of discouragement in your own life. Speak life over yourself. Speak possibility. Speak purpose. Speak with the confidence that comes from trusting God's promises instead of your circumstances. Words shape attitudes. Attitudes shape actions. Docs shape destiny. Be careful with the words you repeat every day. Choose courage when comfort calls your name. Comfort is attractive. It feels safe. It asks nothing from you. But nothing extraordinary grows inside a comfort zone. Every meaningful dream requires courage. Every breakthrough requires a step into the unknown. Every testimony begins with someone choosing faith over familiarity. Courage does not eliminate fear. It simply refuses to let fear make the final decision. So when comfort whispers, stay where you are, let courage answer, I was created for more. Keep moving when progress feels invisible. Some seasons produce visible growth. Others produce hidden roots. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress has stopped. A seed spends a long time growing beneath the surface before anyone sees the first sign of life. The same is true for you. Every lesson, every prayer, every act of faith, every disciplined decision, they are producing something beneath the surface. Do not dig up your purpose simply because the harvest has not appeared yet. Stay planted, stay faithful, stay consistent. The breakthrough often arrives after the moment most people would have given up. God is still working. Even when you cannot see it, He is opening doors you haven't reached yet. He is protecting you from dangers you don't even know exist. He is connecting people, arranging opportunities, and preparing moments that will make sense is only when the time is right. Even when you cannot feel it, feelings change. Some mornings you will feel strong. Other mornings you will feel exhausted. Some days your faith will feel effortless. Other days it will feel like a battle. Do not measure God's presence by your emotions. Measure it by His faithfulness. He has never stopped working. He never will, even when nothing around you makes sense. When prayers seem delayed, when opportunities disappear, when life takes unexpected turns, trust His wisdom more than your understanding. Some answers only become clear with time. Some blessings only make sense in hindsight. What confuses you today may become the greatest testimony of your tomorrow. Stay faithful. Faithfulness is choosing obedience even when results are not immediate. Stay disciplined. Discipline keeps moving when motivation disappears. Discipline builds habits that carry you through difficult seasons. Stay patient. Patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is believing that every day of preparation has eternal value. Do not rush the process. Do not compare your journey. Do not lose heart because someone else seems ahead. God is writing your story according to His perfect timing, and His timing has never been early. It has never been late. It has always been exactly right. So step into this next season with confidence. Leave behind what no longer belongs to you. Carry faith instead of fear. Carry purpose instead of doubt. Carry gratitude instead of bitterness. Walk boldly into the future that God is preparing for you, because what God has started in your life is greater than every obstacle standing before you, greater than every fear whispering in your mind, greater than every setback you've endured, greater than every opinion spoken against you, greater than every unanswered question, greater than every impossible circumstance. The God who began the work in your life is faithful to complete it. So keep believing, keep growing, keep trusting, keep walking. Your next season is not waiting for a different person. It is waiting for you to become the person God has been preparing you to be all along.